Don't you love it when a plan comes together? So, I've been stressing about how I'm going to make all this fit in a Econoline van. I've even seen in some places with the Offenhauser dual port intakes, it'll actually say in the description, does not fit Ford vans, even though you physically have enough room between the end of the intake and the body in the doghouse. It just won't fit because of the overhang of the carburetor using a 4-barrel. So I might still, probably will still put a 4-barrel on it in the future. That's probably going to happen. But for now, this is probably going to be the setup I break the engine in on when it gets back from the machine shop and just kind of see how it runs. I really don't know how this is going to do, but I mean, it should be all right. A 500 CFM Holley 2-barrel should be enough to support, close to 300 horsepower, and I have a substack coming for it this week that it's just like the 4-barrel substacks. It pretty much takes up all of this and smooths out the airflow and everything. I've got it on this 1-inch thick Canton adapter that is slightly offset. I think this is for round track applications, but the reason I used it was, as you can see, with a Holley 2-barrel, you see it has the same air cleaner base as the 4-barrels do. And, but it's just like this, I guess, for packaging. And the issue you have is, space on the sides. So this thing is chokeless now, so it doesn't have any sort of linkage on this side at all, other than this little vacuum deal, which that's not far out enough to cause a problem. It's when you have, linkage and vacuum secondary pot and all that hanging off, that's when it starts getting into the doghouse. But moving this forward, I've picked up room between the carburetor and the doghouse back here too. As far as packaging goes, this is probably going to be the absolute best case scenario for a 75 to 91 Econoline. Some have shared some concern about moving the barrels forward of the plenum. It might make a difference, maybe, but these intake manifolds are quite a bit better than the dual port, so I think distribution should still be fine. And nice thing about this is I actually have a little room. If I use a short screwdriver, I'll be able to adjust the idle air mix screws pretty well. And this is that same 4412 that Ed at Ed's Carburetors in Illinois built me. But this is more than likely what you're going to see on this engine. Will be this intake, that adapter, that carburetor, the substack, and then Chris over at Gorham Works gave me, it was a popcorn maker, but he made it into a real bitchin' carb hat to where it runs into a regular tube. And I'll be doing some mock-up with that, so I'll put the substack on it because, I plan on running like a regular cold air style intake with the tube that goes all the way to the front. It'd be ahead of the radiator, and I'm going to put a air filter behind the grill. But this is my setup. Should work pretty good. I think it'll support a 260 to 280 horsepower inline 6. I mean, good Lord, there's a lot of round track guys that use a 500 CFM Holley and 7,500 RPM small block V8s, and they're not complaining. It might be a little soft on the bottom, but in my application, it really doesn't matter because I'm probably going to have a torque converter that flashes north of 2,800 RPM anyway. So, and this being a 500 CFM Holley 2-barrel, I know these are measured, I believe it's at 3 inches of mercury or 3.0 Hg as opposed to 1.5 on the 4-barrel. So yes, technically they do flow less, but if you look at the most popular 4-barrel for the 300 Ford application, it's the 390 CFM 4-barrel from Holley. So this 500, if you measured it the same way as the 390 CFM 4-barrel, it's really not that far off as far as CFM, and I do think it's going to atomize really well. I mean, you're pulling 300 cubic inches through this one plenum right here, so it'll probably make it fairly consistent, run pretty good. Should be plenty to support well, technically a 307 inch now. A 307 inch 4500-ish RPM engine should be plenty. And it's left me plenty of room to where I can have I'm going to put like a nice low car throttle cable bracket on it. I'm going to use a low car throttle cable. And as you can tell, this carburetor has forward kickdown. So I'll have a low car kickdown cable on it too. I'll be able to use all that stuff. I wasn't going to be able to do that with a 4-barrel spun around the other way on the ported dual port, and the 4-barrel on this one's going to hang off quite a bit. And the issue being is they just don't package all that well. This is just a lot more room, and that's why we're going to go with this for now. But who knows, you never know. Stuff changes, but for now this would be the one that I fire it up on and break it in. I think it's going to work just fine. So that's it for today. I hope you all have a good Sunday, and y'all have a good week. See ya.